The culture in Rwanda is very feminine centered, gender centered, and the development really is around women. I don't really feel like my voice is not heard. I don't feel like I'm less important than a man in Rwanda. I am valued for what I bring to the society and as a community, and I am appreciated. There's not a single government institution where I am not really given an opportunity. It's a country where women are in prominent positions. Their voices are heard. They represent their constituents, and they are in all spheres of life. And the space given, they really take advantage of it to advance their development causes and their goals and the visions and aspirations. Another thing which I think is very important is the mentality and then the spirits which you see everywhere. Girls know they're capable. Young girls, they know they're supported. Young girls have a role model in policy, and in all spheres of life. That's changed the whole mentality. If a girl is born to know that she's valued and she's appreciated and she makes a commitment and she also does everything to know that she has a space in the country. Therefore, the whole history is going to continue, and it's going to continue to change. Despite all the difficulties we have, I think this country is really going forward, and I think it's a model maybe worth exploring and then emulating wherever it's possible. It's an amazing thing. But when you look at now, maybe for the small businesses, small things we see everywhere, especially for the corporation and the private sector, I believe there's more room. We would like maybe some of the financial institutions to be more inclusive. You know, do we have access to the loan? Maybe you have access to the loan, but what are your requirements to get a loan if you are a man versus a woman? Even if the government is pushing really for women to be included in the development process, there are some steps where you see they ask you for collateral. Many women don't maybe own a collateral. Interest rates, you are becoming a higher risk if you are just as a single person, as a single mother. I think if we really want to see the change, the policies have to now trickle down to the basic things we do every single day. We would like maybe some of the financial institutions to be more inclusive. And when I say inclusive, is to review their processes and then to be more gender-centered as well. That they develop new product to really feature the characteristics of how women in the 21st century, in 2021 today, are facing. Because the dynamics are different. And then we would like maybe that are in employment and recruitment, it's not just about women representation in boardrooms, but also what do they do in the whole, if you cascade it from the bottom to the top management position. Are you seeing women? Because if you leave them behind, therefore the voice and what they add to the table is not going to be appreciated. The mentality and the spirit is amazing. But now we need the private sector to go fast enough to open doors for women. Actually, even not even opening doors, really to knock all the walls, make it possible for us to climb, go faster, and to get there faster. In our tradition, women are actually the head of the family. So when we talk about feminine, gender-centered policy, if you look in our tradition, really, women were the force. They were the voice. They were holding everything together, and they made some of the decisions which have a lasting impact. And this is a testimony who stands here talking to you. So what am I trying to say? Let's replicate the best practices we borrow from our tradition, our culture. There are things we leave behind. Of course, times have changed, but I don't want that I have to wait another generation or second or fourth generation for things to change. I'm probably the most privileged. If you look back, I look back from my grandmother and then my other ancestors, where they come from. Today, for me, the change cannot wait. It has it's a very personal question now. It's a very personal situation. I don't want to see other girls who are behind me going through the same hurdles like my mom or my grandmother. It's an impossible thing. If the thought of thinking that a girl cannot go to school today, doesn't have access to equal chances and opportunities in the society where she lives because she's a woman and because of the gender discrimination, it's something I don't understand. But I hope that the next generation coming will not even be having this conversation. It will be natural. It will be normal. They'll be asking, actually, why not? And then another generation will come and say, look back and say, what were you thinking? How did you get to that point of discriminating people? So for me, there are things we need to borrow. There are things when I look at my grandmother, how she held her family, how she took care of her family, and then took some of the decisions which I'm actually the recipient. I am the product of what she did. And then I'm sure that now I have my own children and I have boys this time, that I make sure that I raise boys who are future husbands, collaborators, policymakers, who will not really question why we are so aggressive, why we are so demanding, why are we so difficult? Because if we are not difficult and then asking what is our own right, who's going to do it for us? The question is, are we impatient? Are we asking for more? Are we being difficult? Are we being unreasonable? I believe no, we are not really asking too much. What we are asking is the shift to be fast enough, because at this pace, we will not achieve what we expected to see the society to deliver for us in my generation. And I don't think this will happen even in the next generation of my children. So what we are asking is very simple. The change cannot wait. And then when we say cannot wait, it's just because there are consequences for the delay. And the consequences are affecting lives, people, human beings, your mothers, your sisters, your brothers, your community, where you live. If you leave one person behind, therefore the consequences are very much known. So it's not that we are becoming so unreasonable or difficult at all. What we are asking is, let's fast track, because the train at this pace will never get at the arrival on time. And every single stop is equal to every loss, not to us just as women, but as a society in general. So if we compare the Western world and then the African continent, I think the strides can be celebrated, but also there are so many hurdles. There are so many challenges. We are still climbing this together. There's no one who say we have arrived, we have conquered, we have mastered this. So it's almost like the ball is rolling, and then whatever you look at it, it's evolving. The dynamics, the changes we need, we were fighting for voting over 100 years ago. Now we know we are voting. We have the right to go and vote in Western and some African countries. But now we are looking for equal education opportunities, quality education, financial inclusion, and we are asking for more. So nobody has arrived. In the Western world, you are still fighting your battles. You are still fighting representation. You are still fighting maybe at another level because of where you are as a society, where you are as a community, and where you are from a policy level. There's not a single person. We are running our own race. This is not going to be just a simple walk into a park. This is a long, lifelong marathon. It's not the fastest who get there. It's maybe those who are going to do the small steps, but toward a very, very clear goal who are going to get there. So that's why we are asking that women, you are part of this race. And then sometimes you have to sprint. Sometimes you have to slow down. Sometimes you have to do those incremental paces and then just do one at a time. But we needed to make sure that the clock, because every single hour, every single minute, every single day, every single year, where there's no change, there's a cost. And that costs lives, costs equal opportunities, has an economic cost, not to just women, but as a society. We belong to a society. So whether you look at it from the Western perspective or the African continent where we are, I believe we are running probably toward the same goal, but I define using different parameters, factors, indicators, but I don't think anyone can say that they have arrived. We are all still fighting this battle. But I'm concerned and I'm worried that We are running, and some are thinking we have a right. Not really. We still have a long way to go. And then we need to remember, we cannot do this alone. This is a long, long, lifelong journey and marathon.